right, we are live. Hello and welcome to Resilience Live. This is my second episode. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. And for those of you who didn't join me on my first episode, just to tell you a little bit about what these live streams are about. So I'm doing them for half an hour, 11 a.m. UK time, every Friday, every week. And Resilience Live is really about your resilience, your well-being, your performance, your fulfillment in life and in work. And so we are going to talk about workplace things at the same time in some of these sessions, talking about workplace culture, workplace challenges, resilience and well-being in the workplace. But also, it's just about the human journey. It's just talking about our experiences as humans and how we can build and develop our resilience and our well-being. Because let's be honest, a lot of people do have challenges with that. We live in a very, very complex and challenging world. So today's session is all about, by the way, if you join and you can just let me know that you can hear me and see me and things like that on whatever platform you're on. And wherever you are watching, if I keep looking from side to side, it's because I've got a phone here with my Instagram and I've got my laptop live streaming on the other platforms. So what I wanted to talk to you today about, my lovely souls, is all about positive thinking and how positive thinking, believe it or not, can actually be detrimental to your well-being and happiness. It can actually make you feel worse. It can actually stop you from moving forward and progressing in the way that you really want to do. And I know some people may look at that and immediately you're like, what? How could that be possible? Positive thinking is obviously a good thing. I mean, if you can be negative thinking or positive thinking, what would you choose? Obviously, you choose the positive thinking. But this is a challenge we have, is that like many things in the personal development industry, premises and tools are taught incompletely. And what that means is we become what we call half wise. So we think we understand a tool and we start to use it, but because we don't understand it in its full complexity, because we don't understand how the mind and consciousness actually works in the depth of it, we then actually use the tool to make things worse. We use the tool and it doesn't work. Either it doesn't work and we don't get the results we want, or it actually makes things worse. So we are half wise. So positive thinking, the hippie, happy, happy movement, things like law of attraction, these are all tools and premises that are taught by the personal development industry and are very popular sort of slogans and phrases thrown out there, and people start to try and implement them without knowing how it's really working, without having all the information. And so it doesn't work. So law of attraction is an example. People say, oh, just imagine what you want, visualize what you want, and it will come to you. Doesn't work like that, darlings. I've been doing training and work for the last 2 years now that has shown me the complexity of manifestation and attracting what you want in your life. And there's so much more to it. And so for many people, they don't know that stuff. So they do law of attraction and then it doesn't work. Where's my money? Where's my job? Where's the thing I visualized for a week or whatever? Because it doesn't work like that. So you have to have a greater and more complex understanding of your mind, of consciousness, of how things work, of yourself in order to make these things work for you. So when it comes to positive thinking, there is a phrase we use in positive psychology called toxic positivity. So toxic positivity is what a lot of us are engaging in when we're trying to be positive. So let's think about what that looks like. I'm actually just going to do it like if you joined me last week, I do sort of intuitive circles where we sort of jump into a state of consciousness and just explore. And I often close my eyes because it just helps me to focus. So I'm just going to do that in terms of toxic positivity and when positivity can actually be damaging for you. What does that look like? What that looks like to me is when you are feeling low, negative, in pain of some sort, or perhaps it's somebody else who's struggling. And toxic positivity is when you come in and you just put sticky plasters on everything. You put happy face stickers on all the pain and the problems, and you just pretend it's fine, I'm okay, everything's going to be good. And you just use throwaway statements of positive thinking. But the reality is, a lot of these statements you don't believe. A lot of these statements aren't true. And a lot of these statements are actually damaging because they're not based in reality and the truth. So, positive thinking, if you're struggling and you're trying to force yourself to be positive, 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 you actually are tending to do it because you're avoiding the reality of the pain that you're experiencing. That's another thing that people do with toxic positivity. Um, and I'm sure you've experienced it where you're feeling a difficult emotion, you're not happy, you're challenged, something's not working for you, and someone comes along with the best intentions, bless their hearts, and says, "Oh, it'll be fine. Oh, don't worry. Oh, you've still got a roof over your head," or whatever it is. And they use throwaway positive comments. And if you just go to that experience and imagine you're really suffering, you're sad, you're unhappy, you're anxious, whatever it might be, and someone comes into your experience and says, "Oh, don't worry, just think positive, it will be fine." Imagine how that makes you feel. If anything, it makes you feel worse because they're not seeing you in your reality. They're not honoring you in your truth and your reality, which is I'm in pain, I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm fearful, I've got a problem, or whatever it might be. And when we're not seen in our truth, that causes us a lot more pain. So, this is where toxic positivity causes a problem because toxic positivity is when we lie. We want to avoid the pain, the difficult reality, because who wants to feel that? It doesn't feel good. So, in ourselves and others, rather than honoring the truth of what we're experiencing, we try and be positive about it. And essentially, it's delusional. And it's sticky plasters and it's surface level. So that's the world of toxic positivity. Sometimes I find toxic positivity can be very aggressive, whether you're doing it to yourself or someone is doing it to you or you're doing it to someone else. It's like you're trying to drag them out of their negative and painful experience into the positive, and it's like forceful, it's aggressive. It's kind of like, how dare you feel negative? How dare you feel bad? That's not right. If you're feeling negative or bad, you're broken. Something's wrong with you. We must fix you. We must make you positive. We must make you happy. And my question to you is why? What is wrong with feeling sad or anxious, feeling pain, feeling fear, feeling anger? The whole positivity movement, when used incorrectly, is asking us and teaching us to cut ourselves off from the reality of the human experience, to reject a part of ourselves. And anytime you reject anything in yourself, you cause yourself a lot of pain, a lot of dysfunction and tension, dysfunctional tension inside. So that's the other challenge with toxic positivity is you're avoiding the pain. You're using it to fix yourself, to fix your pain. And it simply doesn't work. So I would like to know if people have experienced this. Like, what's your relationship with positive thinking? What's your experience of it? Have you ever been in a scenario where you're feeling really bad and someone comes along and says, "Oh, but don't worry, everything will be fine. Just be positive. Look on the bright side." Or they try and pull you out of it, or maybe they just can't sit with you in your pain. And that's the other reason people do toxic positivity, is because they can't sit with pain. And so it's all about avoidance of the truth, which is that you're hurt, that you're sad, that you're struggling, that you're feeling pain. And we don't want to go there. So we try and be positive, be positive, be positive. And it causes so much pain and problems because when you're sad, when you're struggling, when you're anxious, when you're hurt, when you're worried, when you're scared, whatever emotion it may be, negative emotions as we call them, what we really want, whether you realize it or not, is to be seen. What we really want is to be seen in our truth. However ugly it is, however painful it is, however uncomfortable it is, we want to be seen by ourselves and others in our truth. The truth shall set you free. I heard somewhere recently that humans are beings of truth, not lies and false positivity and pretending everything's fine and delusion and illusion. Truth, wholeness, truth, presence in what is actually going on right now. Not judging it, not fixing it, not fighting it, not rejecting it, not trying to change it, and actually being truthful. And if you just imagine that, and I'm sure and I hope you've experienced it somewhere in your life, or you've done this for someone else where they're struggling and you've just sat down and said, I see you. Not in those words necessarily, but you've held space for their pain, for their challenge, for their discomfort. You've seen it. You've been compassionate. You've been empathetic. You've understood. You've allowed them to be where they are. And you haven't tried to make them more positive and make them more progressive and happy and blah, blah, blah. You've actually just sat there. And often when you're struggling, that's all we need. You think what you need is to be more positive. No, you just need to honor that you're actually struggling right now. You think what you need is to find more positive thinking and thoughts and perspectives and no, forget that. What you need, first and foremost, is to honor everything you feel. And if possible, you can do that for other people too, whether it's your child, your colleague, your friend, whatever, your family. When they're struggling, the first thing is to honor the reality of the situation and what's going on for them. Not to drag them into positivity, not to try and make them feel better, blah, blah, blah. Just honor. And often that's all that's needed. And if you experience that, being seen in your truth, seeing yourself in your truth, allowing yourself, do you know what? I feel bad today. I feel scared today. I feel sad today. And I'm not going to try and fix that and get out of it. I'm okay with it. And if you actually can practice this, do it for yourself, do it for others, you see how their negative energy will just start to dissipate by itself. It will just start to release this dysfunctional energy and tension that we have within us. It doesn't need fixing. It doesn't need positive thinking. It just needs to be seen. So that's the first thing really with this toxic positivity is actually to be able to, instead of trying to fix your negativity and thinking it is bad, is just to honor everything that you're experiencing. Who said it's bad? If you're unhappy, if you're sad, if you're feeling a bit negative, thinking a bit negative, don't fight that. It's part of our consciousness. It's part of the human experience. I'm not saying dwell on it. I'm not saying stay there forever. I'm not saying become a victim. But I am saying stop and acknowledge the truth of what you're experiencing. Don't try and fake it and falsify it and turn it into something that it's not right now. So again, I'd love to hear from people about their thoughts on toxic positivity or positivity and the hippie, hippie, happy movement. Because here's the other thing about it. If you are trying to be positive all the time, you are living in a delusion and an illusion. You're not living in reality. Because the physical reality that we live in is made of duality and polar opposites. How would you know what was positive if you didn't know what was negative? How would you know what was happy if you didn't know what was sad? How would you know what was up if you didn't know what was down? What was light? What was dark? What was black? What was light? Everything in the physical universe is made of opposites and they come together. So if you want your positive, positive, hippie, happy, positive, you're going to have to understand that the negative is going to exist as well. There is no such thing as a one-sided experience of life at this level, at any level, I'd suggest. unless you really transcend, but I'm not sure of how much we're going to go for that today. And that's not something I've experienced fully anyway. I don't think it's something you can stay in a state of transcendence all the time. But in the most cases, we're walking through this life as a positive, negative, up, down, blah, blah, blah. You can't have one without the other. So again, this idea, there's like books written about be happy all the time, be positive all the time. It's impossible. It's not reality. And if you're chasing an impossible dream, you're going to not have your expectations met, and then you're going to feel worse. So why not stop chasing delusions in the first place? We are human beings. We feel pain. We feel negative emotion. We feel sadness. We have negative thoughts. We don't always feel happy. We don't always feel positive. We don't always have it. And that's okay. Be truthful about that. Be honest about that. Don't try and fix it. Don't fight it. Become aware of these aspects and dimensions of your human experience that are absolutely fine. My belief is that everything in existence was perfectly designed by a divine intelligence, perfectly and intelligently designed. Do you think you were given all these horrible emotions for no reason? Do you think they're an accident? Do you think they're a mistake? Do you think they're there to punish you in some way? I don't think they are. I think it's all designed purposely. And so if we can honor that and bring that in rather than rejecting part of it, judging part of it, I don't want the negative stuff, I don't want the bad stuff, whatever, bring it all in and stop trying to be positive. And the phrase that I've heard that I love is don't be positive, be honest. So if you are going into work and you're struggling and you're putting happy face masks on, and I'm not saying that sometimes you just need to do that, but if there are scenarios where you feel comfortable or you can bring yourself the courage to be honest and truthful about how you're feeling, the truth shall set you free. Rather than going into that office and being like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm happy, I've got so much work and I can't do it and I didn't sleep last night and I missed all my deadlines and I don't think I'm going to get my promotion and I'm really worried about my life and I've got problems at home, but it's okay, I'm great, I'm fine. Yeah, happy, how you all doing? And inside you're like, oh, you got to go to that's inside and honor that that is your reality. And if you feel able, can you voice that? Can you speak that? Can you articulate that? Can you admit that? Can you be honest about that? And here's the other thing, if you have the courage to be the one who is honest, you will open up the door for everybody else to start doing the same. And when we are honest and we live in our truth and we don't live in delusions and illusions and fakery of trying to be positive and happy all the time, we can unleash that for everybody. And I think it would make our society and our teams and our families so much more healthy. So this has been a bit of a all over the place ramble, I'll admit. But I just wanted to see what would come up when it comes to this topic around toxic positivity. And I think that the key summaries on that, and then we're going to go on to what really works. The key summaries of that is, toxic positivity is what you do when you're trying to avoid facing the reality of your pain or the reality of someone else's pain. So you're just trying to put a happy face sticker on it because you're scared to feel and face uncomfortable emotions. My suggestion to you is if you can feel and face uncomfortable emotions, you will step into your power in immense ways. So instead of avoiding it and trying to put stickers on it, we actually allow ourselves to feel and allow other people to feel negative emotions. The other thing with toxic positivity is that you think that not being positive is bad. And you think you need fixing. If you're not positive, if you're not happy, if you're not feeling good all the time, something's wrong. You got to fix yourself. And that again is a rejection of your reality and your truth. And it just causes more pain. It makes things worse. So those are some things that happen when we are in the world of toxic positivity. And I'm going to talk about my suggestion of how to really cultivate um, true optimism, which is what I think is the way forward, as opposed to just happy, happy, positive, positive. True optimism is a lot more sophisticated. So for me, when I'm struggling mentally, emotionally, physically out there, whatever it is, if I'm stuck in a negative rut, and this is what happens when you're in a negative state, you're in a little tunnel, you get tunnel vision, and all you can see is the problem and the negativity, and so, and you, it's like you can't break out. But this is what I use optimism for, is to slowly but surely open my field of vision and expand myself a little bit. So rather than reaching for the false positive statement and pretending I'm fine and be like everything's going to be great and oh it's all good and I'm okay, I honor first of all where I actually am. I say, yeah, do you know what? This is what I think. This is what I feel. This is how I'm perceiving the situation, and it's probably all quite negative. And it's negative things about me and the world, and there's all painful emotions. First, I get that out and I put that down and I understand that and I honor that and I don't try and fix it. And then you just reach for a slightly more expansive thought, whatever comes through for you. Optimism is based in truth, it's based in reality, and it's something that's meaningful and truthful to you. So that's the other thing, right? With toxic positivity, if you're struggling and someone comes along, let's say you didn't get the promotion you want, and someone comes along and says, "Well, it's okay. At least you got a roof over your head, and people are starving in the world, and and you that doesn't help you. You don't feel better because that's not relevant and meaningful to you. It doesn't mean you don't understand that. It doesn't mean you don't appreciate that some people are struggling and you are blessed in ways, but it's not relevant and meaningful to your current situation. So it just makes things worse. So when this is a skill you've got to master, it takes time, you've got to practice. But true optimism is something that's relevant and meaningful in a situation that connects with your heart and it's based in truth. So when you find an optimistic thought, it will resonate with you. Toxic positivity is going to make you feel, "Ugh." So you're going to know it. If you're doing it to yourself, you're doing it to someone else, someone's doing it to you, you're going to feel it. You got to get sensitive and self aware. You're going to feel the discord of the toxic positivity statement because it's not truth. Truth has a ring to it, truth has resonance. You feel truth in your being. And so when you go for optimism, which is just expanding your tunnel vision negative thought a little bit towards a possibility, towards another potential view and perspective. I'm trying to think of an example of this. I've got one actually at the moment with what I'm going through. So I'm writing some bids at the moment for work, and it's quite a struggle, as anyone who's been in consulting and bid writing knows. And it's great, but there are challenges because I'm stretching, I'm growing, and so on. And so toxic positivity would be me saying to myself, it's okay, you're going to win them, you're going to get them because you're so great. That is nonsense. Reality, optimism is at least you're going for it. You're going to learn from it. You do the best that you can. Sometimes it's just simple, seemingly not that powerful statements that actually are the most powerful thing to bring you out of a negative situation, to bring you up out of that tunnel vision from your pain. So it's really about cultivating optimism, as I said, and it's based in reality, it's based in truth. It's not throwaway statements. It's just reaching for a little bit of a possibility. Sometimes optimism is just having someone sit there, put the hand on your shoulder and say, I see you, I'm here for you, and I'm going to walk with you through this challenge. It's not about saying you'll be fine. It's about I'm here right now for you and I'm going to walk with you through the challenge. That is something that can expand you and bring you up and out of your negative situations. Um, so this is something you got to practice, to be honest. But the first thing before you even worry too much about trying to be optimistic, I think the first thing is really just check in if you're doing the toxic positivity stuff. Just reflect on yourself, or maybe people at work, in your team. Are you doing it? Are other people doing it? Because you need to address that and be honest about it. Remember, don't be positive, be honest. And just see, are we trying to put happy face stickers on things? Sebastian, hello, lovely, says, don't worry, you got this. And even if you don't, you'll figure it out. Shudders. You get the shudder, right? You know it. Human beings are vehicles of truth, beings of truth. Even if you're not that sensitive and self aware, and we all have different levels of that, I truly believe that inside everybody is the ability to discern truth and wisdom from nonsense. And that shudder is telling you this is not an authentic, powerful, wise, truthful statement. And so your body goes, "Ugh, not true. That's not what I need right now. That's not it right now." But there's a lot of that. And sometimes I think it's a bit lazy, Sebastian. It's a bit lazy. Like people don't want to go there. People don't want to get deep. People don't want to have real conversations about human experiences and really get into it and say, how can I really help this person? How can I really understand this person? When you're being toxically positive to yourself or others, there's a distance between you and yourself or you and that other person. You're not really connecting deeply. You're not really being present with them, seeing them in all of their truth and be really having a proper relationship with that person. You're a distance going, yeah, it's fine, you'll be good. And so that person's alone. Or if it's you and you, the two parts of you, you're struggling and there's another part of your brain going, yeah, you'll be fine. You feel alone. We got to bring it together. That's optimism. That's compassion. That's love. That's connection. You got to reach to each other, or at least you come forward and be present with somebody or yourself and be honest and sit in the pain for a minute. Don't try and fix it. And I know that's hard because it feels so icky. But stop living in delusions. You'll be fine. You got this. What if I don't got this? I don't got this. I don't got this. So be honest about that. Then you can do something with it. If you're not willing to face the truth, how are you going to take any actions that actually will help you move forward? You'll figure it out. I don't know if I will. Okay, cool. Cool. That's fine. You don't got this. That's cool. Let's look at it then. Let's look at it. Let's go into the mess and the mud and go, yeah, let's see what's in here. Oh, there's so much power in the mess and the mud and the pain and the dysfunction. If you can be brave enough to go there with yourself and others and be honest, I feel like this, I'm struggling with this, this person's, if you can be willing to get dirty in there, you will find that in that rubble is buried treasure. The dysfunctional personality is the gateway to the soul. We must be willing to look at the ugly stuff. And I don't mean stay in ugly stuff forever. I don't mean swim around in ugly stuff. I don't mean identify with it and be a victim, but see it. Stop pushing it aside. The truth is, I don't got this. The truth is, I'm scared. The truth is, I feel awful right now. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's look at that. I love it. I'm like, come, let's talk about this. Like, I don't vibe with the whole, oh, it's fine, positive, positive. Nah, you gotta be willing to. If you can be willing to go deep and experience the reality of all of our emotions, all the negative stuff too, you become incredibly powerful, incredibly resilient, incredibly self aware, incredibly supportive, incredibly compassionate, incredibly good at leading people and supporting people, incredibly good at mastering yourself. Sebastian says, everyone says it. How do we differentiate between the truth and social norms and toxic positivity? So, Sebastian, truth is very personal. Truth is your truth, my truth is my truth. There's no social norm in the truth. It's your resonance in your consciousness. You could say the same statement, Sebastian. Let's say we were both struggling. Let's say we were on a project together and it was really difficult and we were both struggling on it. And someone could say the same positive statement or optimistic statement or whatever to you, and it won't reverberate through your system because it's not the truth that you need at that moment for your soul and your expansion of your consciousness. But for me, it may sing to me. And so I go, oh yeah, that helps me. Oh, okay, I feel myself expanding out of that state. I feel myself growing. I feel myself seeing new possibilities and possible perspectives and options and solutions that I didn't see before. So the truth is unique to each individual. in this case, that's the way that I would explain that. But that's such a good question, and I would like to ponder it more, and I will do, because I think that is just such that's the kind of question I like, Sebastian. Like, these are like existential questions. What is truth? So I would love to ponder that more. But that's what immediately comes to me. I don't go by social norms. I don't go by the world out there in anything. I'm getting better and better. The genius, the self-mastered person is internally referenced. Your life is internally referenced. What am I feeling right now? What's going on for me right now? What works for me right now? What resonates with me right now? Where am I right now? What do I need right now? What do I want to do right now? That is the power. Not, oh, what's going on out there? What do people think? What are people are saying? How are people thinking? Doesn't matter how people are thinking. How are you thinking? How are you feeling? What do you need right now? You bring your power back in and you reference internally and you become sensitive to the energy, because you are made of energy, by the way. We are all energy beings. And you become sensitive to the frequencies and you feel your way through and you intuit your way through. And if something is true for you, you'll feel it. The truth has a ring to it. Boom, it lands deep inside you. So, an optimistic statement, a positive statement, will land with you if it's true for you. But that's why it has to be relevant, meaningful, true, realistic, based in reality here and now. Not just, hey, you'll be fine. Oh, at least you got a roof over your head. That is superficial. There's no depth to that. There's no energy to those statements. And no, we can't be there for everyone. We can't. Wouldn't that be lovely? Um, we can't be there for everyone. That's true. I haven't really anything else to say about that. But always dope, says James. James, you're like my biggest fan. You're so amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sebastian says we can't do that for everyone at work. What do we do then? Just keep quiet and walk away. Oh, do you know, like these questions, like this is like you're asking great questions, and these are not like one answer things. This is the question we all need to look at. I don't have the answers for everybody. But what do I sense? You know, for me, and I do training in this, I do resilience training, well-being training, consulting. And a key premise of my training is to put the power back in the hands of the individuals in the workplace. Because often as leaders, we take it all on. I've got to make sure my team is okay. I've got to make sure everybody's happy. I've got to support everybody. It's too much. And also, your team is full of adult beings, powerful consciousness. So let's teach them how to do this for themselves and each other in the team, which takes the load off the leader and makes people self empowered and self efficient, because that's what I teach. Because that is what we all have the ability to do. So it shouldn't be on you to do that for everybody. That's not possible. That's not your responsibility. You can do it when required and when possible, when you want to, when you need to, when you can. But we have to empower people and teach people the kind of things I teach. How does your mind work? What's going on with your emotions? What's going on in your body and your behavior? How is your environment affecting you? What's in your soul? How do we express? What are you? What is life? This is what we look at, and the tools for self mastery, so that they can handle their own journey and navigate it as conscious beings, as powerful humans, as adults, instead of waiting for the leader or someone else to come and save them and make them feel better. I'm not saying we do it all alone, we need each other. But in an organization, the pressure should not just be on the leaders. We got to empower people, give them the wisdom, the knowledge, the tools to manage their own resilience and well being, to help them know how to pull themselves out of a negative spiral if it happens. And there are tools for that, but people just don't know them. So let's teach them, let's give them, so that we can become self sufficient and also help each other and our peers. And then also leaders can help when necessary. And sometimes you might help your leader. And then it becomes something we all do together. And I do believe the sum of the whole is definitely more than the parts equal, whatever that phrase is. You know, that one about this, I messed that up. The sum of the whole is greater than equal to the parts of the equal sum of the whole of the minus 23 square root of something. I think you know what I mean. um, but it's that one. When we get the whole team conscious, taking responsibility. I've said this in my last video, taking your development into your own hands. It's on you. Yes, we do it together. Yes, we need support. But ultimately, this is your journey. You got to take responsibility to develop yourself, to know when you are in a negative spiral, to know when you're in a dysfunctional state, and to have the tools to help yourself or to reach out for help when you need it. Don't just sit there like a victim. Uh, I'm not sure what that comment is, Sebastian, referring to, but it might have been something I said earlier. You said that requires a lot of self awareness. That's what I teach. That's what the journey is. Self awareness is a never ending journey of learning about yourself, your multidimensional self. And look, it's not for everyone. I love it, I live for it. This is what I do, have done for 16 years. But some people are not interested, and that's okay. We're not here to force people in any direction or journey. We're not here to force people to be how we think they should be, how we want them to be. We can't do that. It's not our right to do that. Everybody is a sovereign soul, a sovereign being on their own journey of life. So, not everyone has self awareness, but self awareness is the number one life skill. And if you want it, you can develop it. And I teach it, by the way. So, it's there and it's so empowering. So, Sebastian says some of the whole, which may end up looking only at the sum of the whole. I'm not sure I understand. You spelled whole differently. Anyone's reading the comments who gets that, you can help me out a little. But, maybe that's one that transmits better in verbal transmission and communication. So hey, darlings, I'm overrunning today. Oh, do you know, in my last live, I was like, oh, I'm so good. I did it to time. I'm going to do that. I'm so good. And now look, second live and I'm already over. So I will close off because I do also have to go and do some things. But it's been a pleasure. Today was a little bit more of just a ramble on what's going on in my mind around toxic positivity, and how positivity can actually be harmful if you don't use it correctly, and how it's used as happy face stickers. It's used to avoid the reality of your pain, of your experiences, and that actually just makes it worse. And my suggestion is you be honest instead of positive. Don't be positive, be honest. Always be honest first. Be truthful, be honest. It requires vulnerability, not easy, but be honest at least with yourself. If you can't share it with someone else, at least with yourself, be honest and don't try and force and fix yourself into a state of positivity. Just chill. Be here, whole human, experiencing whatever you're experiencing. It's absolutely fine. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Thank you for your contribution, Sebastian. I loved this conversation with you. I hope I will see you again. And I will be doing these sessions, as I say, every single week, 11 a.m. UK time. But for now, I'm going to clock off and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care. And thank you, everybody, for watching and commenting. I will see you again soon. Bye.